Serving suggestion. I'm looking for, it says, appears larger than, but it doesn't say that. Well, I have this filling up the bowl, and I did not add about 1/2 cup of water. I'm short by the instructions on the back by 1/2 cup water, and that would have put it over the top is what I think. You can say that with yourself to yourself here looking. 1/2 cup would put it over the top. And this is 1 bowl or cup. That's the size of the spoon. Oh, all right. This is the size of the spoon here, but this is not a real spoon. This is a plastic pulled spoon. A real spoon would be metal, and this one is plastic. So that's how big it is. That's how big the bowl is. And that's how full it is of water, short of the prescribed amount of water by a 1/2 cup. I put 2 bottles of plastic bottles of water, 2 plastic bottles of water. They're 16.9 ounces each. So about 2 cups of water in each bottle. That's 4 cups. Here it says 4.5 cups of water to a boil. This is and I don't have this one opened, but there are other boxes, but this one's not open and this is here. That means this is not from this box right here because that's closed, sealed. It's not a broken seal. The measurement is different for this box than this pouch, and this is the one that I think tastes better from my experience. This one I think has an undesirable feature of a slight odor, but when I eat it, I like the taste of it. It tastes good, but I think this one has the way that it should smell and the way that it should taste go together. So that's what we have right here. We is myself and then God above myself. We is not you watching and myself eating. That's what's wrong with the internet. Tell all your friends. I'm Fine by Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige is a black female, and now she's adultery because I died against itself. I died against all the black people having to work. If you're black, you don't have to work. I don't know what an NIGGER is. I really don't know. But I do know that if you are a black person and you're working, you're against the way that you were formed, which is that you were formed black from somebody who was white who formed a black person. It wasn't that God formed a black person. God formed a white person, and then a white person formed a black person. That's why a black person shouldn't work, doesn't have to work, doesn't need to work for a death for their own self. That means if they work because they have some kind of mental problems, they are unfair to themselves and unfair to the people around themselves, because the mental problems make a black person out. A white person would make a black person with mental problems. The white person's mental problems are transferred into a black person, and a black person doesn't make other black people for their own mental problems. It's not clear what a black person would do, and that's because the black person doesn't have an order to work. You don't have to work for that. You were formed by a white person. The white person was wrong to form you. You don't correct that by that you have to work, and that's something that the white person owed to their own God. That's not true, and they don't owe that to society that way either. So do I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not Black? That's very interesting. How would you like me to answer for the multicultural society I live in? It's none of my business. It's none of my business is not true. It is not its own business. Society belongs in jails and prisons with deceased address. And if you're a Black person, you're not fair if you're at an address. Arena Hankin is Black, and she had an address in Mequon, Wisconsin, a house. It was a 2-level house that I could see, a 3-level house. There was a basement, an entry level, and an upper level. And I don't know how I can get into that house ever because she locked me out of it just like a white person did. And that's exactly how she was formed. I can't help you. She doesn't know how she was formed. She knows this. She wants to live in Brazil because there are Black people in Brazil. Yes, but she's supposed to be an African American. She's supposed to want to live in Africa, and she would go there one way. You don't go there on vacation. If you're an African American, you can get on an airplane and go one way to Africa and never come back. And you're an African American that way. I don't know. She went on an airplane to Brazil. I know because she came back and she was speaking Portuguese. When before she didn't say that to me, she didn't speak any Portuguese to me until some many months later. She came back from having, according to her, traveled with AFS, American Field Service. They're with the high school having international students both in America and overseas. And she did go to Brazil, is what she said, and she spoke some Portuguese in front of everyone. And whose class was it? Let me see if I can remember. I can't, but it was in a classroom. Yeah, I could hear it in a classroom at Homestead High School. That was so many years ago, I don't remember which class it was, but at the time, of course, I knew. Right now, I can't recall. Sorry. So what's homeless is I don't have any more threatening for this bowl of soup. But I do know that I don't know you someplace because it's steaming right up in my face and I don't have my hood up. Now it's here. I can keep going, but I want this soup when it's hot. So, what do you think? I used to watch a lot of darshan videos. Darshan is when Bhagavan Sri or Sri Satya Sai Baba or GK at the end, or not. Sai Baba, he would walk in a temple in India, and it was on videos that was recorded on CD or what. CD is compact disc? No, video. Yes, video compact disc. VCD. Not a DVD. It was a VCD, and it's from India. And I watched it so many times because it was God, and I could feel His presence when I was watching the video. And maybe that's because, I don't know, my life was the way it should have been for me at the time. But Bhagavan Baba did not survive that I was seeing him on the VCD and in some other videos as well. And I got some other information like newsletters. I got books, some music, all about Bhagavan Baba being an avatar. The Avatar, it's me at this point, but I was the one who was interested in Avatar and that he was saying he's God in human form, but he doesn't speak English. He didn't say that himself without an interpreter, and I don't know if he actually said it because there was an interpreter. So that means I don't know Bhagavan Baba very well, but I do know that I used to pay a lot of attention to him because he said he was an avatar and God in human form, whatever that means. I don't know what an avatar is, really, unless I am one. And I am not an avatar. I'm the soul of the superior founder deceased. I have genitals on myself means I don't know what an avatar is. Does Bhagavan have avatar? Bhagavan has no genitals, is what I think, but I think he has amputated genitals, and he survived that his genitals were amputated, and he's Indian. So, what's wrong with that? There are people in this world who have no genitals, and I don't know that. That's very interesting that they still have clothing. Bhagavan's wearing a robe of God, and he has amputated genitals. That's God being angry with him, and he's got amputated genitals, and he has a robe on him over himself, which belongs to God. What's wrong with the robe is it was orange. Orange is deceased at this time. His robe is red. I have seen a red robe as well. I've seen white, orange, red, and yellow. I'm wearing a robe right now, but my robe has a zipper on it to indicate that I paid for it. It's if Bhagavan Baba paid for his robe, he's Indian in India, and he paid rupees for it. Where from Amazon.com. That's where this one is from. Genitals amputation should not give you the elation that you are an avatar. That is not appropriate. If your genitals are amputated, that's not the same thing as that you're God and you don't have genitals. I have genitals on myself. I am the top of the Godhead. That's who I am. If I don't have to be named, I had a name, but the name is covering up that I'm the top of the Godhead. That I know because I am myself. I'm also the Godhead. The top of the Godhead means I am the top Godhead. Godhead means there's more than one of me.